Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Waas and some quick demonstrations of letter combinations as formations. With some explanations of the letter combinations of the word river. This is from the last, there are a lot of letters from the last and most complex category. I will call them complex because it's quite difficult to calculate them, but in fact you shouldn't calculate them, you just have to see where it fits, and I will tell you how to do so. So I will take this word, river, which is using letters from this last category. Just to be clear, here you can see all the letters, how clear the vision is from a perspective of what you know. From a perspective of what we know, we start with what we know, and then the things are clear. When it's clear, we name them, and I say, okay, that's that. And that's the most clear thing, and it starts with the letter T. That's what is most clear to us. That's the definition of the number one. Actually, we start with the A, and the A is, that's what I think it is. So we have automatically an anticipation process in its progress, how we talk, how we understand each other, what we think. So we are still open and say, okay, we will still adapt to from what we know, or we have to adapt. We change it a little bit. There is a whole process that in interaction we can do so. Otherwise, there would be no conversation, and it's just and finished. No, the A is not the one. It's not what is perfectly usable as what you know. The T is, that's what is clear, and you use this what I do. So the first category of letters, it is, in a way, we use an estimation with A, but in a way we will say, okay, with this material I can do something with it, and I deal with what I know. I deal with it. The next category of letters, that's more like, I'm participating, we're into communication, we're developing things. All these letters are associated with these kinds of formation process, and we follow these directions, and we try to follow. The last category has another gravity point. So the first gravity point is what we know and think to know, and what we recognize in reality. Here it is now, that's what it is. So, and because every moment the reality changes, we have a different perspective. From that point in time and space, the things look different at each point in time and space. So we have no other option than to reflect there. So what kind of situation do we have now at this moment? So, and we also deal part with the unknown, because some of the descriptions that are made by someone else, they're already from another perspective. We can't see that perspective 100%. So we can only try to reflect. So in all these letters that are in that category, there's always a part of unknown elements that we deal with, and when we place it at the right positions, when we can estimate it correctly, when we anticipate to them correctly, we can also understand them and see the full perspective. And then we have a part of it that we say we leave it as it is. There is one letter, however, which is the second gravity point, the 0 point, let's say, where there is no friction at all, where there's no dominance of opinions, when it's just the thing as it is. That's the letter E. There the thing is what it is. It's the neutral point where you can do something with it. Much more than you can do with A. A is an opinion still, and it has to discover how much it is true and what is not. In E, we know, okay, here we finally have it, that's what it is. So in this last category, we have a certain point of unknown in it. And this unknown, I will tell you which kind of unknowns that there is. And it is also practical to work with these unknowns. There is a practical way to work with them, and that I will explain today with the river. In Q, do we deal there? We deal with a steering unknown center. With the V, we deal with an unknown destiny of material. With the G, we deal with unknown limits. With H, in between it all, that's the function of how all these slightly unknown realities work. The H part is that all of what is active in space, and the R is all what is active or interactive in time. Basically, that's actually what you need to remember. The E is what we discover of an unknown starting point. We still didn't see it before. We suddenly have another perspective, and there it is. And with the S, we can discover an unknown and unfitting end effect as well, because in a way it doesn't fit with our system where we started from. We go to another perspective. Everything is different. The only thing we can do is anticipate directly, immediately, and nothing more than that. And we can understand what it is. I will give you examples in the next couple of videos from the S as well. But first here with the V is here in the river, the R is there on the second category, and the E is there. So from all the levels we have one letter, and I will show you how you can interpret it, that you know immediately how we recognize these letter combinations in the word river. Because this anticipation is there, and it works exactly in the same way that it fits the object that we are focused upon with the letters that are describing it. And I will show you that again and again. The reason behind it, another story. I will tell that once more another time. But here were already some of the R forms that we used as a helpful tool to say, okay, these I can associate with R. It's a movement in time, or changes of movement, or an amount of movement, or the movement is connecting itself. It's all of them are connecting. So in a way, I can resume them as now it is about the connection with some part that is moving in time or in space, far apart or completely. It doesn't matter. So all these forms that I used as helpful tools are useful. So what you know already is they are all about direct and active connections with some movement and possible variations in the degree in process. I tell you why, because this is just the result. They are all connecting, as you can see, in time and space in the sections where you can say, okay, how much it is so and in which direction they are so. So there are some variations possible, but what they have all in common is the following thing. They all are moving and connecting itself with its connections, which is interactive connections in time and space together. That's the basics of R. So let's now make river. How can we make river with this aspect that we know we can recognize? So we have these elements. We have here the first two letters already. We have the R. So let's make a connection in time and space with E. So fitting to at this point still unknown fitting point. So we will still try to find the neutral point where it can fit in, and that's how I express the E most at its best. Explanations are elsewhere, but that's more or less how I can express it. But we'll continue, and then we will find it. We will find the combination. The next letter is the V. So the V is an unknown destiny in this case, or destinies of the material. So there can be one direction of destiny. We don't know it beforehand, but we already know the material is going elsewhere. So that's the vagueness, the elsewhere. But it ends, the word ends with er, the and the r. The is what I notice, that is true. So what I notice, so it is already clear enough what is connected with r at the end. We will be able to know, okay, it is clear that we notice clear enough what is really connecting in this whole set of things. And that's where the next point comes in. So here we notice where the movements of the material is destined. We notice where the material is going the whole time. We also notice with the E in which direction the thing is going. So we can also follow that. We follow all these changes in direction, this general direction we also sense. So we're already closer to what we are going to discover in the word river. The only thing that lost us is the last letter R that connects it all together, because that's a feedback system. In the end, the last letter always tells us, okay, where did we start from? Where are we going to? How shall we connect? We are connecting itself to all the changes of directions, of all the results of in evolution in time and space, where all changes will be connected. So basically it is all these points where there is a change. So when I connect them, that where I see, oh, the direction changed, oh, this direction changed, oh, I find the general direction, then we're already closer to what we are describing with river, and where we really also follow the main direction, which is always adapted at certain points. We have the river. So what did we find here? The E. Yes, it found, it's no longer unknown, it found its unknown direction, which I noticed in the end with the and the R, that I can connect it. With the V, I also found its directions or destinies, where all of the material flows to. And this is, of course, connected in the end with the and the R. And this is my full perspective of my full connections of R to R. It is the river. Can I also describe it with the forms that I had before as a helpful tool? Let's do so. The R is it goes it turns into a direction, and it also changes direction if needed, and the E will follow that main direction, so the point will simply fit in. The V will show where its material will go to, or where it belongs, which through R at the end will make, of course, new connections, and will connect these new connections, and all the destinations that are changing, it will adapt again and again and again. So as just an example, here I have one R, it changed direction, so this R shape will go along. Dominant will of course be the dominant direction, E, that follows the changes of directions, V. So even the R should follow actually. So is it really needed to turn around? No, just the turnaround points will be most important, of course. Where is the change? And it also turns around at every corner, as you can see. So let's make the result. I'll still make the flow a little bit, but mainly it is the directions that change direction, the points where the directions are changed in direction, that can be seen and sensed. So the turning points follow the V directions, and we notice them where they are with ER at the end. So basically, is it difficult to use a certain amount of unknown elements, actually it is not very much. We simply adapt quickly to what we have, to what we see in the situation. And how do I describe that? You cannot predict that beforehand. Where exactly will it change? In the letters with forms, or you will predict it more or less where it is. Here you can't predict it. You have to see where does it change. You look at the river, and there's a certain point where it moves, and it moves at every perspective. It's somewhere else, and that's the whole point. But the point is that you can describe it with the letters. The point is that you can describe this unknown moment which changes all the time. It doesn't matter that it changes all the time, but we can describe it with the R as where is the turning point, where is the connected point, space and time. So when and how. When is this happening? No, not when and how, sorry, when and where is it happening? The V is the direction. These directions, they change all the time. You have a different perspective and look at the river. At another point, it turns somewhere else. Is that then not the river anymore? No, that's exactly the river from any point of view. So how can I describe something that has an unknown factor when it will change direction, when it will move direction? It will move direction when it changes its direction to another point, to where, and everybody can recognize to where a movement changes. So the V is, in general, for all of us, is to where. It's not, oh, it's right, it's left. So that kind of calculations no longer works. It's to where, much more than that. The E is the same thing. Where is the neutral point that sees where it fits? For you it fits somewhere else, for me it fits somewhere else. I'm having a different perspective, but it's not from where here, it's also not to where, but it is how it fits. The river, so it follows the river, and from another point of view, they follow it from another point of view, but they follow it all in the same way. That's how it fits, that's the E. So basically, when we found this definition, we finally have it. Thanks to the context, the general context, we have it. And then we know with the R when and where there is a connection of change, of turning point. With V, we know to where it also fits and where it leads to another direction. And with E, we know how it fits. And it can be reused as well. So if we have the perspective is from another angle, it can be reused. The same idea. With the it's simply an expression of the smallest sound that you can have. The that has still some kind of volume means it has the association of, okay, I noticed this. It's real enough for me, and that's it. It's real enough. This is the river. I hope you enjoy the river. This is the sound in form of river and the whole perspective behind it. Why these letters are exactly at the place as where they should be, and they have, in a way, a simple description possible why they are at its place, and that's what I hoped to show you in this video. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This was Gerald on my master's website too. You find also a list of words. You can use this short URL to have the list available, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to keep yourself informed with more demonstrations or instructions. Thanks again, bye.